Hey, what's up? It's Tuesday, August 18, 2020, 9:03 p.m. Squirrel Lily stream number one. You know, like in the game. That's what I done. All right. Well, hi everyone. Let's do this thing right now. So this week I'm just stressed and anxious. You know, all that usual good stuff. Now it wants me to press the A button? Jesus, so demanding. How's everyone doing? October 19th, 3:27 p.m. Wright and Co. law offices. That was a close one, huh, Mia? Really? Too bad. I'm sorry I missed it. Maya! So what happened? Well, I think I've got a pretty good idea who did it. Now all I need is a motive and proof. Wow, good going, Nick. Under the initial trial system, tomorrow is the last day we have. Initial trial? What's that? That's the new court system they introduced 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know precisely when, I'm just a lawyer. Game audio's always a bit quiet on this game. It's gotta be because it gets loud all of a sudden. There we go, I turned it up a little bit. They had so many cases in the system, they decided to speed up the whole process, like that would solve anything. So under that system, trials have to end in 3 days? Yeah, pretty much. Well, we've no time to waste. I don't get it, Maya. Why would Mr. Hammer steal the Steel Samurai costume? What? You mean Mr. Hammer was wearing the costume? Yeah. But Mr. Hammer was the victim, Nick. Why would he go through the trouble of stealing it? That's what we have to find out. Yeah, that's true. We have those apple things. Is a 3-day statute of limitations a good idea? No, then why would 3-day trials be a good idea? There you go. What happened with the director's testimony? Well, it's pretty clear that the producer and the director were both in the trailer. Huh. Which means that the killer has to be one of them. Really? Why? Because the real scene of the crime was Studio 2, where that trailer is. What? Oh, was Maya always this excitable? Well, she doesn't remember any of this because Mia was inhabiting her body. Well, have you noticed anything that might help us? I can't see what's going on when Mia's here. So, no, I haven't noticed anything. Right. Maybe we should go talk to WP. Powers, right. Sorry, I don't know how that'll help us figure this out. Aw, but it's a lawyer badge. October 19, Detention Center, Visitor's Room. Mr. Wright, you did very well again today, thank you. Oh, thanks. Could you not look like you're about to burst into tears? Wow, Nick, you must have really wowed him in there. And could you wipe that grin off your face? Hey, WP, only 1 day left. Let's make it count. Yeah. Though there's not really anything I can do to help. Ha ha ha! I'm not really sure what I can do either. Please, this is no laughing matter. Can you tell me more about Mr. Vasquez? Oh, the producer. She's well respected in the industry. They say she's a genius. A genius? She's been at Global for 5 years now. Right or wrong, nobody dares tell her different these days. Why is that? Ever since she came on board, we've had nothing but hits. Global Studio was on its knees, but she picked it up and made it shine. On. And what? Nothing, forget it. I've only heard rumors anyhow. Can you tell me anything about Mr. Manila? Oh, he used to be a minor straight-to-video director, but something in his work caught Vasquez's eye. She brought the Steel Samurai idea to him. Now everyone knows the name Sal Manila. I hear he's pretty much at her beck and call, though. Whenever she says jump, he asks how high and all that. I can imagine him being at her beck and call, though I can't imagine him jumping. Jesus, Phoenix. Cut that shit out. Pick on him for being a creep. I was wondering about Mr. Hammer. He was a big star back in the day, right? But then he just dropped off the face of the earth. Oh, yeah, you're right. In fact, he was my role model when I started in this business. He's just stopped taking on big roles. That's when he began appearing in little productions at Global. How could he do that? I was really looking forward to a sequel to Samurai Summer. He just gave up being a star 5 years ago, actually. Now that I think about it. That was right when Ms. Vasquez came to Global. 5 years ago. The guy wanders the visitor's room. He seems frozen in awe of willpower's on the same thing. October 19, Global Studios main gate. The old windbag sure is quiet today. You know, this place is really peaceful like this. Nick? I think our guard's down. Yeah? I bet we could even eat those donuts in the guard station if we wanted. You eat, you die. Oh, ooh, she's alive. I was wondering about Dee Vasquez, the producer. Oh, the studio bigwigs love her. So she always gets her way. She seems bitter. Do you not like the producer? Look, the studio people don't want me talking about her, so sorry. Can I ask you about Salmonella, the director? Sal? He's a pushover. Does whatever Vasquez tells him to. She treats him like dirt, but I think he likes it. Huh? Why would anyone like being treated like dirt? That doesn't make any sense, does it, Nick? No, it sure doesn't, Maya. Wouldn't know anything about that. Me, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney? Nope. About Mr. Hammer. I heard about what you said today, cheeky whippersnapper. Poor old Hammer, you drag his star down from the sky and stomp on it. Calling him a criminal, a thief. I won't forget this. Uh-oh, she's really pissed this time. You listen to me, whippersnapper. My poor old Hammer would never do such a thing. Why would he steal Power's costume so he could sneak by me? He'd never stoop so low. It's impossible. Hey, bad road. October 19, Global Studios, employee area. I guess they're not filming today either. I did want to see them filming just one time. This trial will be over and done by tomorrow. You can come see them film later. I guess. This is where you found that bottle of sleeping pills, right? Uh-huh. I wonder if there are any other clues laying around. Yeah! No, 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 no touching! Eek. Oh, sorry, pal. Didn't mean to frighten you. I almost had a heart attack. I guess I can be a little dramatique at times. I suppose it's the actor in me. Dramatique indeed. Ahem. Anyway, I'm here to examine the plate on that table. Wait, are you looking for sleeping pills? Yeah, pal, traces thereof. So you're looking for traces of the sleeping pills, how? For a thorough examination, I gotta take the plate back to the precinct. But I got the capabilities to make a cursory examination right here. A science guy gave me some testing solution. This reacts to these sleeping pills. See, if there's traces, it'll change color. Wow, neat. Well, Detective Gumshoe, what are you waiting for? Now, everything in due time, pal. Well, the testing solution on the plate changed color, all right. So the food on this plate had been laced with sleeping pills. Looks like it. Steak plate added to the court record. Found in the employee area. On it are traces of sleeping pills and a large bone. How goes your investigation? To tell the truth, it's a real mess, pal. Some people think we should pursue this case we already have against Powers. Some people think we should switch suspects. What do you think, Detective Gumshoe? Oh, pal, I hate to admit it, but I'm not sure I buy the case against Mr. Powers anymore. I feel kind of bad for Mr. Edgeworth, though. How's Edgeworth doing, anyway? Mr. Edgeworth's out of control. He was in the waiting room and he crushed this paper cup with hot coffee in it? Whoa. Talk about burns, pal. Wow, the fury of Edgeworth. Yeah, crushing paper cups. Cups, bottles. Say, whatever happened with that empty bottle? Ah, the bottle of sleeping pills. Well, I got some good news for you about that. They found the victim, Jack Hammer's prints on the bottle. So that means... Yeah, it sounds like the one who put Powers to sleep was none other than the victim. So I was right. Oh, hello. What are you doing here? Oh, I was just cleaning up the dressing room. I guess WP won't be using it anymore, so... What? Why? WP's innocent. Yeah, and I'm really grateful for all you've done, but... This week's the last episode of Steel Samurai. What? No! I was wondering if I could ask you about Mr. Hammer. Yeah? On the day of the murder, he went to Studio 2? Huh? I thought he went to Studio 1. He stole the Steel Samurai costume, too. What? Why would Mr. Hammer do something like that? Oh. I guess the rumor must be true, then. The rumor? Yeah, Ms. Vasquez, the producer, had some kind of hold on Hammer. She had some dirt on him. He'd do anything she said, apparently. Some dirt? What dirt? Dirt. You know, bad stuff. I know what dirt means. About 5 years ago, they were filming a movie starring Mr. Hammer, and they were using the new studio. Some sort of accident happened during filming, and after that, they never used Studio 2 again. They left the film set the way it was, too. The film set? Was that trailer part of the film set, then? So, before we move on to the next question, I'd like someone to bang donate in chat, if you would. Behind that command are listed couple of organizations, including the Bail Fund Network and the Black Hills Legal Fund, fighting for the rights, along with many thousands and thousands of protesters across the country of Black and Indigenous Americans. Black Lives Matter and Indigenous Lives Matter, and you can help make sure that people understand that. All of these organizations here, all of these places listed, need your help, your money, your participation, how about, in order to help the protests, which are still ongoing across the country. So yeah, check that shit out, if you would, please. What do you mean, The Last Steel Samurai? I know it's a shock, but nothing can be done to save it now. Whoever really did kill Mr. Hammer also signed the Steel Samurai's death warrant. No. No! Also, I hear that Global Studios is going to change its programming. They're not going to make kids shows anymore. What? Why? I don't know. It's sad, but that's what Global Studios decided. Why aren't they gonna make kids shows anymore? The studio bigwigs don't want the Steel Samurai around anymore. They want to forget all this ever happened. They want it quiet, understand? Xenon has posted another link to more links of Black-led queer groups that accept donations. Check those out as well if you would. How can they just do that? What about all the kids who love the Steel Samurai? It's okay, I'm sure the kids will be fine. They'll find a new hero to follow. No, that can't be true. If the program just ends, they'll be heartbroken for sure. Nick, say something. Yeah. I think evidence rather than words is called for here. Here, take a look at this. What's this? This is why you can't stop the Steel Samurai. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Neither do I, Nick. Funny that, I don't either. Oops, let's try that again. So, I had no idea what I was trying to show to. Oh, here we go. And this is? A fan collected all of these photographs. The kids love the Steel Samurai. The show shouldn't be canceled just so some adults can save face. I think you'd understand that better than anyone. You're right. Okay, but what can I do? Well, for starters, you can tell me something. Tell me what it is that Global Studios is so intent on hiding. Tell me about this accident 5 years ago. Okay. Could you tell us what happened 5 years ago? Well, I can tell you what I've heard. Apparently, 5 years ago, someone died and it was Hammer's fault. Someone died? It was an accident, of course. Anyway, the producer, Miss Vasquez, managed to hush it up. And that's the dirt she had on Mr. Hammer. And that's why Mr. Hammer would do anything Miss Vasquez asked him to. But it was an accident, right? Why didn't they just make it public? Well, you know Mr. Hammer was a big star back then. They were afraid about what would happen if his career if word got out. I see. You know who knows more about this? Ms. Oldbag. She was here at the studios back then, you know. She was a young Ms. Oldbag. Thanks, we'll try asking her, if she'll talk. I'll be heartbroken if they cancel the Steel Samurai. What, you're still slinking around? If you like the place so much, why don't you take over for me? The old windbag doesn't look so good. Everybody's doing their darndest to forget Hammer. Who do they think made Global Studios what it is today? Hammer. It's all due to Hammer. She's starting to froth at the mouth, Nick. Maybe we should keep a safe distance. Sure, she was 5 years younger. That makes her what, like 19? No, I guess the joke would be that would make her what, 25? Because it's anime, and once you're 30, you're basically dead. I wanted to ask you about 5 years ago. Who told? Who did you hear that from? Huh? Nichols? Nichols? Nichols, Nick. Penny Nichols, Nick. Nick Nichols, Nick Penny. Penny Nick Nichols. That assistant we talked to. Oh, right. Anyway, wrong voice. Oh, right. Anyway, we heard about the accident. It was during filming with Jack Hammer. He killed a man, didn't he? Whippersnappers! Dredging up dirt on someone's past like that. And the recently departed, no less. Knick-knack, pennywhack. There you go. Oh, I'm sure someone can manage it, Fel 3, but thank you. I suppose you think this is fun? No, I'm just doing my job to protect Mr. Powers. And you claim that Hammer stole Powers' costume. You expect me to believe that rubbish? Or do you have some kind of proof? Proof that Hammer stole Powers' costume? I'm sorry, Ms. Oldbag, but I do have proof. I can prove that Mr. Hammer stole Mr. Powers' costume. Mr. Powers ate a T-bone steak for lunch, correct? T-bone steak, T-bone steak. What was the exact... Well, I don't remember it anymore. Why, yeah. Well, yes, so? This is the plate that he used to eat that steak. There's traces of sleeping pill powder on the plate. Huh? I bet Powers put it in there himself. Even a lightweight like him must have trouble sleeping sometimes. Except I approve Mr. Hammer put the pills in. This bottle contains sleeping pills. Mr. Hammer's fingerprints were found on the bottle. Ergo... I see. Poor Hammer. You did wrong, Hammer. Rest your soul. Ms. Oldbag? Okay. You win. I'll talk. Thank you both for the clips. I'm tired, see? Tired of holding it all in. Like a big, angry poop. Ms. Oldbag. You're right. 5 years ago there was an accident. A fatal accident. What's worse, paparazzi took a photo of it. That photo, well, it caused quite a stir. Guess who made it all better? Vasquez. She has ties to the Mafia. She silenced that paparazzi. That was the beginning. After that, she became a force to be reckoned with here at the studio. Nah, this is a paparazzi. There's several of them within a single form. They're just crowded together real tight and are starting to merge. It's very eldritch. I see. But you have to understand. Poor old Hammer never meant any harm to anyone. Ms. Oldbag. Hold on a minute. Or Ms. Oldbag. Here, take this. A photograph? Look at this photograph. Wait a second. This is the picture. Is this the trailer in Studio 2? Hammer was supposed to fight with a bad guy on top of those stairs, you see. He pushed the other actor and the man fell onto the flower box fence. But how did you get this? It was a long time ago. I don't feel much like talking about it. I understand. Well, damn, now this just got sad, huh? October 19, Studio 1 entrance. Think back, Nick, to the day of the murder. Mr. Hammer put on the Steel Samurai costume, then he left from here to go to Studio 2. Right. But why? I wonder if someone called him, like the director or the producer. Oh no, it's the birds! Hey, Nick, it's Miss Vasquez. Hello? 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 Hello. Maya, you should at least try to be polite. I'm watching the clouds. That's all she had to say, apparently. Excuse me, Mr. Hammer came here the day of the murder and... Shush. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I'm watching the clouds. I'm not interested in talking to you. Do something, Nick. She's really ticking me off. Oh dear. Mr. Powers wasn't the killer. You don't have to cancel the Steel Samurai. I think I'm tired of the Steel Samurai. You did it. Nick, she did it. She's the killer. My Fey blood speaks to me. I know it. I know it. Oh dear. I was wondering if you could tell me about Mr. Manila. If you must talk about that man, perhaps you could talk about it in the trailer by yourselves. Oh dear. Hey, I'm a lawyer. She's not even looking. Okay, hey, you look. Well, why are you showing that to me, Nick? Alright, now let's talk about Salmonella in the trailer by ourselves. Wasn't the assistant cleaning up yesterday? Funny, it still seems pretty messy in here. I guess she was still on a high from getting that rare card she needed. This is not messy. This is where they had that meeting. There are documents and paper cups scattered around. Looks like they were designing a set to use for the Steel Samurai show. They've got some figures for how much the set costs. I can't believe they spend that much money on those sets. Oh yeah, Penny's high as a kite. That's why I picked that voice for her. Oh, you mean, oh, the producer as well. Yeah, that's also why I picked that voice for her. They're both very high. An old movie poster, The Singing Samurai starring Jack Hammer. What the hell does samurai sing about? Chopping off heads? We've already heard this. Well, we can't talk about it on our own. Whoops, I went back to the trailer. Can't go to Studio One, I forgot about that. Didn't look in the trash can at the trailer. Alright, let's look in the trash can at the trailer. There's the button. Nothing in here that could be a clue, just some paper cups and crumpled documents. No. The problem is that even though this shows it renewed because we're on a new chapter, it's still the same dialogue for most of it. And that's a problem with the game's interface. Like in Hackers, 1995. An incinerator, apparently they just put this one in. It's already covered in soot, they must not clean it much. This is where Salmonella and D. Vasquez ate. There's nothing left on the plates. Hey, so they ate T-bone steaks too. Something wrong? I don't know, I'm getting this funny feeling. Something about this just feels odd, you know? Can't say that I do. Yeah, they ate the T-bone. Can we present her with something to get her to go off? She is not even looking. Where? What? Where did you get that? Ah, well... Old bag. Old? She means the security lady, Ms. Old Bag, Nick. Right, anyway. Ms. Vasquez, you hid this incident from the press, didn't you? And you used it to control Mr. Hammer. The wind... Huh? It's gotten stronger, don't you think? The wind. Your conversation interests me. Let's talk about it more inside the trailer. Nick, she went inside the trailer. The wind. Ah, boneless T-bone. Oh, can I get a, boneless bone? Well then, what was it you were talking about? Why is she so eager to talk all of a sudden? Ms. Vasquez, you were using that accident. You were blackmailing Mr. Hammer so you could control him, weren't you? That's why I was doing kids shows for petty change. So I'm a blackmailer now. Well, that's what it was, wasn't it? I mean, sure, it was an accident, but you used it to drag Mr. Hammer down from his rightful place as a star. Oh. I haven't pulled anyone down from anywhere. Mr. Hammer's career went sour of its own accord. But you were the cause. You pressured him. And to think it was just an accident. Excuse me. What is this all about? You keep saying accident, accident. How are you so sure? What do you mean? Must I spell everything out for you? Think. What would it be if it wasn't an accident? No. No way! You mean Mr. Hammer did it on purpose? That is what I mean. Where's your proof? Can you prove it? Huh. Just think. Would he have let me run his life for 5 years over a mere accident? And I ran him hard, believe you me. But the security lady said it was an accident. Oh, well, she was a big fan of Hammers, you see. She jumped on the reporter who brought that photo into the studio. She wrenched it from his hands, she did. Gave him a few bruises, too. So that's why she has the photo. She's an old fool. Of course, all the reporters would need is the negatives. He could have made a copy, but he didn't. The only copy of that photo is the one you hold. Give it to me, now. What? This is valuable evidence. Boys? Hey look, it's the Elite Beat agents. Oh no! Etc. Good stuff right there. So undone. Capcom, by the way. Because these guys are like convincingly them. Who are they? Professionals. They're good at erasing various things. What do you think? Would you like to be erased? What? The trial ends tomorrow. How unfortunate. It's a shame you'll have to miss it. I like how these guys are just not as well drawn as the foreground characters. I think that's a nice touch. They're Nintendo first party, huh? Tell me why. Why do you want this photograph so badly? This is Mr. Hammer's dirt, no? Why should D. Vasquez care about it at all? I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to think about that where you're going. So long, friends. Boys, erase away. No! Hold it right there! I heard everything, pal! D. Vasquez, you're coming down to the precinct with me right now! Oh my god, is Gumshoe being useful? Huh. Not bad. Very well. It appears this contest will be decided tomorrow then. In court. I'll be looking forward to it. It's Innis. I'm not familiar with Innis.
They mostly did all that.
Okay. Ah, they did Gitaruman, okay. Policeman actually useful, everyone baffled, right? Hey, you okay, pal? Sorry I was a little late with my entrance. Don't get many chances to practice that sort of thing. Detective Gumshoe, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was really scared. Don't mention it, pal. Just doing my job for once. Detective Gumshoe? Sorry, it's just... I wanted to say that line ever since I became a detective. Okay, I got one more job to do today. So that's a really good line that might just go over your head if you're not paying attention. He hasn't been allowed to do his job that he signed up to do the whole time he's been part of the force. That is literally the first time he's got to do the thing he wanted to do as a cop, which is help people. Because the whole system is fucked. I'm sure we'll run into each other again soon. Well, Nick, it looks like we're getting close to the bottom of this. And who's at the bottom? D. Vasquez. To be continued. Alright, we're a little early on the break, but we're going to take it anyway because we're going into the court scene next. Hit, bang, donate, check that stuff out there. Black Lives Matter, Indigenous Lives Matter. And I will be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Alright, I'm back. Let's continue on to the court scene now, where all the action happens. October 20, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4. Good to see you, Riz. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. I hope the prosecution and the defense will be able to present decisive evidence. Both, in fact. I hope there's decisive, irrefutable evidence for both sides. Thank you, Riz, for 20 months of support. Honkity honk honk. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement. It's one of those gamer routers, except gold for some reason. And yes, I don't think I've ever seen a gold router. In yesterday's session, the defense presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims that the scene of the crime was in fact Studio 2. Today I will call upon people present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. From their testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. So Twitch sometimes does these promotions where if someone subscribes, it passes out emotes to the rest of the chat, which is pretty cool. Albeit this month's are kind of weak because they're associated with a brand instead of being Pride emotes or holiday emotes or something cool. But that's what's going on there. It's not as good of a promotion as some of their previous ones. Hyper haste. Yay! Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. Worth. You may call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls Ms. D. Vasquez to the stand. Ms. D. Vasquez is a producer who was present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. Will the witness state her name and occupation? D. Vasquez, I'm a producer for Global Studios. Is this the first cooperative witness Edgeworth has had? And it's D? On the day of the murder, you were in the trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes? I dislike needless banter. If you must pontificate, do it when I'm not here. Ah, there she goes. Ugh! Very well, Ms. Vasquez. Please give the court your testimony concerning the day of the murder. Nick, I know she did it. Make her pay. Right. She's guilty. I'll catch her with her pants down, so to speak. Or her dress up. Or her do some tie-dyeing. That's a different quote. Or die trying. Or try dying. Or maybe do some tie-dyeing. That's true, we've only seen her from the waist up. Well, she was wearing a dress in the photograph. And this looks like the same dress. I entered the trailer, a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 sharp, it ended at 4. What's that quote from? That is from Animaniacs. Rob Paulson as Yakko Warner said it. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. We found Hammer's body later when we all went to Studio 1. That's all. I have a question about one part of your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you. The van. Huh? There's a van at Studio 2. I had him take me in that. I thought it might be risky to walk, what with the monkey's head toppling over. I see. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. This is the final battle, Nick. Let's do it! The day of the murder. I entered the trailer, a little before noon. By yourself? Yes. And you didn't stop in at the employee area? No. Are you always this terse? Yes. Oh dear. The meeting began at 12 sharp and ended at 4. Did no one leave during the meeting? No one. She's smoking in court because there's no drawings of her without her cigarette pipe thing. Come on, let's talk a bit more about that. The witness did not come here to engage in idle conversation. Stop interrupting the testimony. The same could be said to you, Mr. Edgeworth, and please stop banging on your little desk. It hurts my ears. Ah! You know what the van in Studio 2 needs? It needs truck juice. Hell yeah. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. And when exactly was that? I've forgotten. Maybe you could try remembering. No. The meeting ended at 4 and the rehearsal was scheduled for 5. I would think it was between those times. You'd think? Come on, all you did was state the obvious, Edgeworth. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. Hold on! You had Sal take you? What does that mean? It means sex. I had Sal take me in the Studio 2 van. Oh, right. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. And what were you doing during that time? Don't hit your desk. It irritates me. Yeah, Mr. Wright. Duh! It was a 15-minute break. They just do everything they can with these few animations. It was a 15-minute break. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. Do you have someone who can verify this? Sal. No, I mean someone else. One person's enough. She committed murder during that break. She wouldn't have had time to eat a T-bone steak. If I had some evidence that proved she didn't eat the steak... Well, Nick, find anything? Kinda wish she'd said a little more. It's hard. I think she's pretty used to being the boss, but I'm sure you'll find some kind of contradiction in what she said somewhere. With a 15-minute break. Do we have evidence that she didn't eat the steak? Because that's what it told us to look for. There's no bone. There's no bones there! Alright, let's give this a shot, I guess. There it is. Ha! As I thought. You claim you ate a T-bone steak. But I say you did not. What's this now, Mr. Wright? Look at this. It's a plate. This plate was on the table in the employee area. As you can see, a large bone, not shaped like a T, has been left behind. Mr. Wright, need I remind you it was a T-bone steak? Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Ms. Vasquez and Mr. Manella ate at a table outside the trailer. Yet there were no bones left on the plates. The plates were bare. Ms. Vasquez, tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I think I know how. You ate a boneless steak. You ate the bone too. Okay, we have to at least try saying that she ate the bone as well. You ate the bone, too! Nick, are you sure? I mean, I love steak, but even I don't eat the bone. Hey, I don't eat it either. Mr. Wright, I too leave the bone. Can I try that again? I think I know how. You ate a boneless steak! You were eating a boneless steak. Mr. Wright, say you are right. What would that prove? Oh, right, Your Honor. Nick, remember her testimony? She said she ate a T-bone steak. She said bone. Bone, bone, bone. Correct, I was testing you. Yeah, sure, Nick. Sorry, can I try that one more time? I think I know how. You didn't eat any steak during that break. It wasn't a steak break. You took your steak and threw it somewhere, like the incinerator. I see. Then what was Ms. Vasquez doing during her break? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? Picking on salmonella! We're just picking wrong answers tonight. She was picking on Mr. Manella. Mr. Wright, sometimes this court finds it hard to tell whether you're joking or being serious. Oh? I'd prefer it if you remained serious. Yes, Your Honor, I'll do my best. She was meeting with the Steel Samurai. Order? Are you saying? Yes, Your Honor. As Ms. Vasquez left the trailer to eat her steak, she ran into the Steel Samurai. And then you did it. You killed him with your own hands. Mr. Wright, isn't it a little presumptuous? What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, Wright? Let him claim what he wants. You say I did it? Yes. Fascinating. And here I was worrying that today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well. Let's have a battle of wits, you and I. Any day, Vasquez. Good luck, Nick. Let's see. What was that murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes. I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How could I possibly use that heavy spear as a weapon? I mean, you could drop him on it, right? It's not impossible. Well, maybe it's not impossible, but silence! I'm speaking. Ah! That's my Edgeworth sound. I'm very happy with it. The victim was stabbed through the chest from the front, yes. I believe this would indicate that the victim was aware of the killer's presence. Now, the Steel Samurai costume is quite light and mobile. Compared to the victim, I'm weaker and slower. I couldn't possibly win such a fight, not to mention there's proof. I did not have the spear. This photograph of the Steel Samurai shows that the victim himself was holding it. Or do you mean to suggest that I could have wrested it away from him? Yeah, take that, Right. If you still think she did it, show us proof. Hey Nick, look at the data we have on the samurai spear in the court record. Isn't there something in there that gets you? What, like the fact that the end of it was broken off and fixed with duct tape? Something odd about the samurai spear? Wait! Something the matter, Mr. Wright? Sorry, Your Honor. I'd like to take back my previous claim. Very well, I won't hold you to your claim, but I'm afraid I'll have to penalize you. Ugh. What's this? You're taking back your claim? Let's backtrack for a moment. I want to consider whether the witness could have used the samurai spear or not. However, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning, the samurai spear was not the murder weapon. What? Ah, the fence. The fence. The bent fence. What is the meaning of this? That spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that the samurai spear was not used as the murder weapon. Look at that. The fence isn't bent. Wrong, Mr. Wright. But I haven't said anything yet. I know you well enough by now to know you're going to present the wrong evidence. I can sense it too with my fey blood. Okay, so I picked the wrong evidence. Enough with all this. That seemed right to me. At least we're not getting penalized for this one. The judge is just assuming we're wrong. I present my proof, the so-called murder weapon. But that is the murder weapon. Not so fast. Remember that the spear broke during the morning action scene run-through? But someone fixed the spear. It was the security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man who's wearing a thick costume with this through the chest? Order, order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what you're... Silence. I'm the one testifying here, and I will be heard. Ah! Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, then pray tell what was. How was Hammer killed? Well, Mr. Wright, can you tell us what weapon was used to kill Mr. Hammer? Would I make a claim like that if I couldn't tell you what the weapon was? I'm afraid your confidence can sometimes be unfounded, Mr. Wright. Very well, let's see this murder weapon then. Look at this photograph. What's this? Why, that's Jack Hammer standing at the top of the stairs. Order! Order! Riz, you've just summed up the entire series. If I cannot have order, this trial will be suspended. Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. Not a word of this was leaked to the outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. What does this have to do with the current case? Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it. You see the fallen man in this photo? You see how the fence post pierced him through the chest? What? Are you saying... Yes. What happened 5 years ago? They just flipped her photo and put a hood on her. Has happened again. Mr. Wright, continue. It's 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder. Ms. D. Vasquez meets Jack Hammer outside the Studio 2 trailer. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer off the stairs onto the fence. Just like Mr. Hammer had himself done 5 years ago. Though whether she did it on purpose or by accident, I can't say. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, He died in the same way that he caused another man to die. 5 years ago. Precisely. Ironic, isn't it? Ho-ho. Very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you on my script writing staff. You deny that what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say for the sake of argument that Hammer died at the trailer, as you say. Yet the body was found at Studio One, was it not? And in the evil magistrate's costume, no less. Are you then claiming that I carried the body to Studio One and returned to the trailer all in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I have disposed of the body? The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes from 2:30 to 2:35. Could Jack Hammer have been pushed off the stairs to his death, then carried to Studio One and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? Well, she had another way. The Elite Beat agents. What if she had another way to carry the body, other than with her own hands? I mean, there's the van, too. For instance. Actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the deed in 15 minutes. And there was a way for you to carry that body. Interesting. Let's hear it then. Mr. Wright, please show us how she carried the body. Ms. Vasquez, you carried the body to Studio One, and you used the studio van to do it. Recall your testimony. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio One. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. There was a van there, right? I had Sal drive me. I find it interesting how no one seems to react to the witness's obvious reactions. Of course. You gotta take everything from a standpoint of the information intentionally presented only. You used the van to carry the body to Studio One. Then, before everyone else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. Hold on, Mr. Wright. Don't forget it was Sal Manella that drove the van. Are you suggesting that Mr. Manella was a conspirator? Of course he wasn't. Ha! So without Mr. Manella noticing anything, she put the body in the van, then managed to put the body into the costume. Are you seriously suggesting that's possible? Of course I'm not serious. Huh? I was kidding, to lighten the proceedings. Lighten? You can't lighten up a murder! Mr. Wright, the court requests you refrain from making claims in jest. Yes, Your Honor. Of course, Salmonella has to have been a conspirator. The body had to be placed in the van and put into the costume. There's no way Ms. Vasquez could have done that alone. Also, don't forget that they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burned it in that small incinerator. Well, Ms. Vasquez, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. Huh. I lose, you win. It was fun. I win? So what happens next? Don't question mark me. Don't you have anything to say? What would you like me to say? Huh? I lost. Something like that. I just said that. So you mean D. Vasquez, so it was you? You killed Jack Hammer. Who can say? Huh? Are you sure I did, Mr. Wright? We just engaged in a battle of wits, and the result of that battle, you proved the possibility that I murdered Hammer. Right? But that's only a possibility. Proof is another thing altogether. You lack decisive proof, Mr. Wright. What? What? Order! Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Of course. It's as the witness says. Certainly it does seem very likely she did it, but, there's no proof. Edgeworth isn't sure. Well, I came here as a witness today. If you've no more questions, I'll be leaving. What do I do now? I'd like you to testify again. Testify again? No one to give up, Mr. Wright. No one to hold him. No one to fold him. No one to walk away. No one to run. Even if I were to testify again, what's the point? I can only say what I said before, the truth, Mr. Wright. I've already said all there is to say. What would happen if I said it again? He'd ask the same questions, get the same answers, a waste of time. Damn! To come so far, only to fail. Raphael Damn.wav. As it seems there are no further questions, I'd like to end the cross-examination of the witness, Ms. Vasquez. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honor. Oh my god, Edgeworth and Christie, you're kindred spirits. I didn't. I see. Very well. Your Honor, I request that the witness testify again. You're the prosecutor, are you not? Why are you badgering me? I'm your witness. I just want to hear your testimony again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honor? I don't see that we have anything to gain by repeating the last several minutes. He just wanted to say objection so he's part of the group. He just wants to fit in. Mr. Edgeworth, I too see little point in making Ms. Vasquez repeat herself. What exactly did he want to testify about? Well, yes, indeed, verily, I say, ergo, I want to hear what happened after they found the body. After they found the body? Very well. The witness will testify to the court concerning this matter. Nick, why did Edgeworth? Who knows? He probably realized she did it too. But wasn't he the one that said he always gets a guilty verdict? After all that? Edgeworth. This will be his second ever not guilty verdict. Edgeworth is beginning to understand the idea of finding the truth rather than just trying to get a conviction. Yep. Now, if only real prosecutors would be like that. After finding the body. This is why people like Edgeworth, by the way. This character arc is very good. I was with Sal and Oldbag, the security lady, when we found the body. The assistant was there too, only Powers was absent. Edgeworth. I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. The security lady, Oldbag, was quite agitated, pointing at Powers, saying he did it. I asked to be left out of the proceedings. I went back to the trailer to get my script and direction notes, then I went home. I see no issues raised by this testimony. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Okay, Nick, we're close. real close, Nick. She may be acting tough now, but if you put her on the spot, she's sure to falter. Find the key you need and twist the truth out of her, Nick. Right. That was a strangely violent-sounding metaphor. I was with Sal and Old Bag, the security lady, when we found the body. What time was that? We were to meet at 5 for the rehearsal, so I'd say it was then. When exactly did you and Mr. Manella arrive at the studio? About 10 minutes before. I wasn't stuffing any bodies into costumes, mind you. Where were the other employees when you got to the studio? They weren't there yet. Well, then you could have put Hammer in the costume with Salmonella's help. Oh, what did I just say? Did I not just say I wasn't stuffing any bodies into costumes? You should try to listen to what people are saying, boy. Boy? The witness will continue her testimony. Why do they always say the security lady to clarify who they mean by Old Bag? I'm not sure. It almost sounds like there was a joke there in the original version that got lost in translation. The assistant was there too, only Powers was absent. Mr. Powers was taking a nap, correct? So he says. Did no one go to call him? Remember the 25th night of September? There was a dead body lying in front of us, yet you expect me to be calm. You certainly seemed calm enough when I accused you of murder. Ugh. Wait a second. Wouldn't that be the other way around? The other way around. You discovered a murdered body, and one person was missing, right? Wouldn't you normally go looking for the missing person? I have to agree with the defense on this one. Well, Ms. Vasquez? Logically speaking, perhaps. But no one there was thinking very logically, I assure you. Also, without his steel samurai costume, Powers doesn't really stand. We often left him on the bus when shooting at location. No one noticed he was missing. Poor Powers. Ah, well, I suppose that explains a lot. Very well, Ms. Vasquez, you may continue. I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. What was everyone else doing at that time? No one said a thing. It was silent, completely silent. So he stood there until Powers finally arrived on the scene. Sorry I'm late. Then, silence. Dead silence. Silence. Hey Nick, why is everyone so quiet? Someone should do something to lighten things up. The security lady Old Bag was quite agitated, pointing at Powers saying he did it. Old Bag, the security lady? Why did the security lady think Powers had done it? She said because she saw him going toward the studio. Right, the Steel Samurai. Did the detective arrest Mr. Powers based solely on the security lady's word? Perhaps not. She seemed to have also given the detective that photograph. Of course, I heard all this after the fact. That photograph, meaning the one taken by the security camera. She's not known for exhibiting the best sense of judgment when it comes to Hammer. Ah. I don't think there's anything in there I can use. I asked to be left out of the proceedings. You asked to be left out? Yes. It seems that everyone else was questioned, and I'm really not fond of that sort of thing. But you can't just decide who the police will and won't question. Thankfully, the studio thinks otherwise. They were nice enough to understand that since we were in a meeting, there was no way we could have been involved. Thus, they covered for us. Covered for you? Or covered it up for you? There must have been a lot riding on it with all those bigwigs at the meeting. I'm sure professionals helped convince everyone they didn't require questioning. I went back to the trailer to get my script and direction notes. The script and your direction notes? Yes, they're quite valuable. It wouldn't do to have them stolen. No, I guess not. Wait a second. I thought you came to Studio One for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes? Well, I was under the impression that we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything. Why? There was a murder after all. Who could think of rehearsing after that? Oh yeah, I guess. Very well, Ms. Vasquez, please continue. Your Honor! Glad Edgeworth caught that. I haven't objected to the witness's last statement. Huh? Think. Ms. Vasquez said she didn't bring the script because there wouldn't be a rehearsal. Don't you see what that means? She would have to know about the murder before going to Studio One. Order, order! Mr. Edgeworth! What you've just said is a reasonable observation. However, I find it hard to understand why the prosecution would make such a move. Or are you thinking of a career change to defense? I appreciate the concern, Your Honor. I'll stand by my statement, however, regardless of how the court sees my role here. Now, Ms. Vasquez, do you have an explanation? I can't believe Edgeworth is helping me. Humph. So the prosecution is in cahoots with the defense. What kind of kangaroo court is this? No matter. I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there would be no rehearsal. Very well. The witness will change her testimony to reflect the reason. I knew that Hammer was injured and couldn't do any action scenes, so I left them behind. How did you know about the injury? How did I know? Sal. He told me. Sal, the director. We have to find something to peg this on her here, or everything we've done till now will have been wasted. I believe in you, Nick. Go get him. Alright, so this is probably where we're going to be presenting. Problem is, what do we present? Hammer was injured. Powers was injured, not Hammer. Why is she saying Hammer? You knew that Hammer was injured. Don't you think that's a little funny? Don't you think that's a little sad that the dreams in which were Okay, I'll stop. I mean, it was the Steel Samurai who was injured. It was Will Powers. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself! Yes, Mr. Hammer is dragging his leg in this photo, but that's because he was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Pretending? One person was injured in the run-through that morning. That person was Mr. Powers, not Mr. Hammer. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said it. It was Sal who told me. That's right. He must have gotten it wrong. I don't think so. Mr. Manella was at the run-through that morning. He would have known it was Mr. Powers who was injured. He saw it happen. Why would he tell you the wrong person? Ms. Vasquez? You heard Mr. Manella wrong. You must have heard Mr. Manella wrong. Even though he said Mr. Powers was injured, you thought he was talking about Mr. Hammer. Now that you mention it, yes, I believe you're right. I'm sure that's what happened. Yeah, what? Nick, you're supposed to be putting her on the spot, not helping her. Oh, right. I kind of talked myself out of that one, didn't I? Quick, start over. Ms. Vasquez, you saw Hammer limping! Actually, you didn't hear anything from Mr. Manella. You saw Mr. Hammer limping with your own eyes. Yes, but wasn't it Mr. Powers who was injured? Yes, but remember, Mr. Hammer was dragging his leg too. He was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Ah! And when he was doing this? Well... when was he doing this? Well, it would have been after he put on the Steel Samurai costume and went to Studio 2 where he was murdered. Exactly! Ms. Vasquez, you met him, didn't you? You saw the Steel Samurai limping. And Mr. Hammer was in that Steel Samurai suit. That's why you were confused. That's why you thought it was Mr. Hammer who'd been injured that morning. Order! Order! I will have order! Witness? Can you refute this claim? Yeah, let's see you sneak out of this one, Vasquez. Very well. I have a question for you. Why are the real killers always so persistent? Why in the world would I want Mr. Hammer dead? Yes, he'd fallen on hard times, but he was a star. I had nothing to gain from his death. Nothing! Yes, you'd need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? If there's a reason, it's unclear to this court. Does the defense have anything to say on this matter? In other words, can you prove she had a motive? Of course I can prove it. Okay. I mean, wasn't she trying to kill Powers? I have proof and I'll show it to you. I present to the court evidence as to Ms. Vasquez's motive in this murder. Mr. Monkey. Or maybe she wanted to kill Hammer because Hammer killed her brother? Or her van? This is my proof. This is the photo from before. This photo reveals the motive to this murder. I'm right, aren't I, Ms. Vasquez? 5 years ago, Mr. Hammer was at the height of his fame. With D. Vasquez's help, a terrible accident was swept under the carpet. Ladies and gentlemen, the case currently up for trial. It began on that day 5 years ago. Ironically enough, that accident precipitated Mr. Hammer's fall. His fall from stardom. His guilt weighed him down, no doubt. That was my second guess. However, you, D. Vasquez, used Mr. Hammer. You made him work for you for petty change. Bringing us to the present day and Mr. Hammer's last role as the evil magistrate. Yes, undoubtedly, it was a constant source of shame for the ex-star. One moment, Mr. Wright. We are talking about motives here. Yet you have only talked about Mr. Hammer. It almost seems as if it was Mr. Hammer who had killed D. Vasquez, not the other way around. Oh, sorry, that was still the judge. I thought she was interrupting him. What motive would Ms. Vasquez have? Yes, that's right. According to what you say. I would have had no reason to kill Hammer. He was a good source of income for me. And I never get rid of useful men. It's a policy of mine. Mr. Wright, please explain Ms. Vasquez's motive for murder. Okay. Allow me to present to the court evidence proving Ms. Vasquez's motive. Like the photo again, right? This is my proof. And this tells us why Ms. Vasquez wanted to kill Mr. Hammer? I'd say all it proves is that the defense attorney has completely lost his marbles. Mr. Wright, the court requests that you find your marbles immediately. And I'm afraid I have to penalize you for this waste of the court's time. Nick, we're so close. Think this one through, please. It's totally the monkey's head. She had no motive? We can try that. As it was an accident? She had no motive, Your Honor. What's that now? It was Mr. Hammer who was out for blood. All Ms. Vasquez did was push him off the stairs in self-defense. What's that now? It's simple. Mr. Hammer was intending to kill Ms. Vasquez. What? 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 Your Honor, Jack Hammer drugged Mr. Powers with sleeping pills. Jack Hammer snuck into the dressing room and stole the steel samurai costume. Jack Hammer wore the costume to fool the security later into thinking he was Powers. Then Jack Hammer made his way to the trailer. And for what purpose, you ask? To kill D. Vasquez, who had so cruelly taken advantage of him all these years. So you did do it, didn't you? Yes. I am guilty. It was me. Someone call an ambulance! There's blood everywhere! We're too late! Ms. Vasquez, what happened here? Manuel fell from the trailer stairs. Manuel! Ms. Vasquez, please try to remain calm. No! How could this? It was an accident. Mr. Hammer was doing an action scene and... No! Manuel! Don't touch him, Ms. Vasquez! No! Please don't die. Please! Congratulations, Mr. Wright. I lose again. Mr. Edgeworth? Where's D. Vasquez? In the waiting lobby, Your Honor. As calm and collected as ever. You'll note she wasn't calm and collected in the flashback because she hadn't started smoking yet. I see. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. It appears you've brought about yet another miracle. Haha, thank you, Your Honor. I think not, Your Honor. Will Powers was innocent. That he should be found so is only natural, not a miracle. Yes, you're right. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, not guilty. An acquittal is a miracle in this system, yes. You know, just like real life. That is all. The court is adjourned. October 20, 1:12 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Does the peanut gallery bring the confetti from home? I think so, yes. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I'm just glad you're okay. Yeah, but it's sad. I know that Mr. Hammer stole me costume. That's bad enough that he wanted to kill Ms. Vasquez, but to think that he tried to frame me for the murder makes me sad. Tell me why, Mr. Wright. Huh? Tell me, why did Mr. Hammer want to blame me? Well, this is what I think. Mr. Hammer wanted to put the blame on you because... you were the Steel Samurai. Because I was the Steel Samurai. Mr. Hammer was a big star once. But he was reduced to acting in a kids' show, and as the villain to boot. The kids loved the Steel Samurai, so he hated you. I think I understand. He could have just told me. I would have changed places with him any time. I think you're missing the point. Thank you. I'm just glad it's all over. So am I. So am I. Congratulations, WP. Oh, ho, 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 hey, hey! Thanks to you, I'll be able to don the Steel Samurai outfit once more. I can't wait to get back into that sweaty costume and... Is something wrong? No, of course not. Ah! Nick! Edgeworth! Say something right. I'm not good at small talk. Huh? What? That was too bad, Edgeworth! You don't waste any time gloating, do you? No, I really want to thank you. Vasquez would have gotten away if you hadn't stepped in. Pleased to meet you. I'm Powers. Edgeworth. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Powers. Liar. Right. I must say I hadn't expected to meet you again after all these years. Meet again? However, in retrospect, it would have been better had we not met. Thanks to you, I am saddled with unnecessary... feelings. Unnecessary feelings? Yes. Unease and uncertainty. Aren't those kinda necessary? They only serve to get in my way. You listen to me, Phoenix Wright. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. That's what I came here to tell you. Mr. Wright, was that guy your friend? What? Friends? As if. They're rivals. Rivals, right, Nick? For now we are, I guess. Huh? Why do I get the feeling I'm missing something? Come on, Nick. Tell me. What's the deal with you and Edgeworth? Should have given me a present evidence button there. And so the curtain closed on another trial. I caused quite a stir by revealing that accident from 5 years ago. It was the talk of the town. Thankfully, Global Studios rethought its programming change. They went back to making kids shows again. Nick, this is it. The new show starts today. You're gonna watch it with me, right? I'll admit, I was kinda surprised. I didn't think they'd seriously go through with it. You have to buy trading cards too, okay? We have to trade with Cody and that assistant. Fine, I'll do it. Isn't it great that WP gets to play the lead again? I wonder if they'll show his real face this time. I don't know. I don't think the world's ready for the real Will Powers. I like that they just said that he gets to play the lead without making fun of the fact that he's playing a pink girl princess. I'm very proud of them for that. A brand new episode has been added, and Edgeworth looks more frustrated than ever. This is the one with the parrot. I believe you're right, yes. Those are penises. It's been what, 15 years? About that, yeah. 15 years is a long time to wait. You can't imagine how much I've suffered. You've suffered? But now, the perfect opportunity has presented itself. At last, I shall have my revenge. What? Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. December 25, 10:08 a.m., Wright & Co. law offices. Hey, Nick. Do you know if there's any good waterfalls around here? Waterfalls? Dare I ask why? Duh, Nick, isn't it obvious? I need a waterfall to stand under, preferably a freezing one. Oh, is that part of your spirit medium training? Of course! Except I've been slacking off a bit lately. I need to brave the elements and be forged anew under the rushing spring waters. Okay. I don't know about any falls per se, but Gourd Lake is pretty close. Oh, darn. Sorry, them's the breaks. Couldn't you just take a cold shower or something? Good idea. So much for rushing spring waters. Next in the news, a large unidentified animal was sighted at Gourd Lake. The town is buzzing with excitement. Locals are calling it Gordy, in a tip of the hat to Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. Though its namesake, Nessie, proved to be a hoax. Locals are confident their Gordy is the real deal. Boring. Can't they show real news for a change? Nick. The water pressure's kind of low in the shower. You want more pressure, huh? Why don't you go down to the fire department and have them spray you down with a hose? Good idea, Nick. Apparently, Fey Blood is no aid in detecting sarcasm. We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. Strange occurrences continue at Gourd Lake, but this time, it's murder! Gourd Lake again? The body of a man was found in the lake early this morning. A suspect was apprehended. Sources inside the police department revealed that the suspect's name is Miles Edgeworth, age 24. Edgeworth was an up-and-coming prosecutor known for his skill and connections. He was guaranteed a long and rewarding career. Has he thrown it all away? Edgeworth? Ugh, what's going on? Edgeworth would never do something like... Nick? Ah, Maya! The fireman yelled at me when I called him. We got bigger things to worry about than that. They arrested Edgeworth. What? You mean the prosecutor? Yeah, he's a suspect. In a murder! What? When, where, whom, why, how? I don't know. Let's go find out, Nick. December 25, Detention Center, Visitors Room. You know, Nick, we've all been in here one time or another, haven't we? I guess it comes with the territory. I'm not sure it's something we should mention to too many people. Hey, Edgeworth, come back! What are you doing here? Nick, I don't think he's in a very good mood. Well, he is in detention. Were you in a good mood when you were here? So you've come to laugh at the fallen attorney? Then laugh! Laugh! Well, why aren't you laughing? Laugh, damn you! Nick, should we be laughing? It's a trick. Laugh and he'll get mad, or burst into tears. Edgeworth, we don't have so much free time we can spend it coming down here to laugh at you. Yes, you do. Actually, he's right. I hoped you wouldn't come. I didn't want you to see me. Not like this. I didn't want to see you like this either, believe me. Edgeworth, tell me what happened. Why should I? What are you going to do about it? Duh. We're gonna help you, that's what. Help me? You? Don't be ridiculous. Sorry? You're a novice. You've only been in 3 trials. Hey! Sure, you got lucky and won all 3, but your luck's bound to run out someday. You need real skill, Wright. Experience. Nick, he's insulting you. Nick! Why am I always the one who has to get angry? The murder took place at Gourd Lake, correct? Yes, late last night. The lake is a long way away from your offices in the courthouse. Why were you down there? I see no need to tell you. Mr. Edgeworth, you didn't really... Gordy. Huh? I went to see Gordy. Gordy? What's that? I'll tell you later. Why won't Edgeworth talk to us? Maybe if I show him that I'm a real lawyer. Well, it's not letting me present it. Oh wait, present, here we go. Your attorney's badge. Edgeworth. Let me defend you. Ha! Good one, Wright. But I'm not that hard up, not yet. What do you mean by that? Me? Trust a wet behind-the-ears lawyer with only 3 trials under his belt? Never. What? My case is near hopeless, Wright. Every defense attorney I've talked to has turned me down. What? Simply put, they were afraid they'd lose. It occurred to me that it might be my fault that they lack confidence. After all, I did get every single one of their clients declared guilty. I don't believe it. Regardless, I don't want you involved in this. You in particular cannot ask. I cannot ask to do this. This guard monitors the visitors room. He hasn't moved an inch since I came in. Real pro. Or maybe he's just nervous with Edgeworth in the room. December 25, Gourd Lake Park, entrance. This is where it happened? Yeah, Gourd Lake is in the middle of this park. I can see some police walking around in there. Questioning people, probably. Hey, isn't that Detective Gumshoe over there? Well, pal, there's enough of us here. Anyone found anything? Sorry, sir, nothing. Idiot. The trial's tomorrow. We need clues on the double. But, sir, there weren't any clues. That's why we arrested that attorney, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear, sir. He's the one. Shut up. Just you try saying that again. I'll make you sorry if you do. So just get out of my face, pal. Yes, sir. Detective Gumshoe is kind of scary today. Recruits. Eek. Hey, you're that hairy guy, Hairy Butts. Right, Phoenix Wright. Will he ever learn my name? And just what are you doing here, pal? Investigating? Well, yes, I suppose. Well, I'm here to help. Ask me anything you want. Bring it! He seems different than usual. I wonder what's up. Mr. Edgeworth hasn't actually asked us to defend him yet. Huh? Oh. Don't say. Detective Gumshoe. Do you know what happened here? Huh? You don't know, pal? No. Okay, well, Mr. Head in the Fluffy Pink Cloud's lawyer? Head in the... Huh? Never mind, I'll tell you. It happened last night, about 15 minutes after midnight. There was a boat out on Gourd Lake. In that boat was 2 men. One of those men shot the other with a pistol. And the shooter was Mr. Edgeworth? A cop who arrived on the scene arrested him. How did they get there so fast? Well, there was a witness. When the report came in, we raced to the lake. A witness? Who was this witness? Sorry, pal, that's confidential. Anyway, the witness saw everything, apparently. I'm sure they'll turn up at the trial tomorrow. Is there only the one witness? Yeah, it was pretty cold out on the lake last night. And it was Christmas Eve, after all. Still, we're being thorough. You never know when you're gonna turn up another witness. So that's why we're here today, checking things out. So far, we're coming up empty. Oh, it's Christmas today, I forgot. What are you getting me for Christmas, Nick? Talk to Santa. You don't think Mr. Edgeworth is a murderer, do you? Absolutely not! It's impossible! I don't care if there's a witness either. I don't believe a lick of it! Right! Who cares what the witness says? I care. You really believe in him, don't you, Detective? Of course I do! But the police are pretty sure he's the killer. Nobody's even really taking this investigation that seriously. Oh no. After all the help Mr. Edgeworth has been to us, hard to imagine that no one's standing up to take his side. Well, at least you're here, Detective. At least you're here. This is kinda gay, a little bit. This is really kinda super gay. Is it true? No one will take Mr. Edgeworth's case? Yeah, he's a bit of a celebrity. If you defend him and lost, your reputation would be sure to suffer. What's more, the case against him is it's pretty solid. I suppose it would be if they have a witness. Hey, pal! Don't tell me you're gonna turn your back on him too. Remember the Steel Samurai case? Mr. Edgeworth helped you get your client declared innocent. I know. I went to Edgeworth, I tried. He really doesn't want us to represent him. Especially not us, he said. What? Well, that doesn't make any sense, pal. You should have heard him talking about you after that trial. He kept saying, right, over and over again. Nick, I'm not sure that's a good sign. Neither am I. Why wouldn't he want your help? I don't get it. Detective Gumshoe, sir! What, you find something? No, sir, not yet. But there was a call from the precinct. They want us to hold an investigation briefing. A briefing? Right, I'm off. Oh, sorry, pal. I guess you heard. I gotta go. Any last things you want to ask before I head back? Well, yes. Do you have any information on the victim? Sorry, they haven't worked up the autopsy report yet. I'm still waiting for it myself. Actually, say, if you get the time, drop by the precinct. We can talk more there, pal. You're not coming back, Detective? Probably not, pal. So what should we do if we have something to talk to you about? Oh, right. Here, I'll show you how to get to the precinct. Come down and see me anytime. Oh, hey, Detective Gumshoe. What? Oh, we'd like to take a look around in the park. Can we walk around? Yeah, no problem, pal. You got my permission. You know, Nick, I think there's something to be said for talking to people when they're busy. Yeah, they don't have time to think about not giving you information. Right. Now let's get investigating. The sign says Gourd Lake Nature Park. This place is full of families picnicking on the weekend. But no waterfall. Not many picnickers come here for spiritual training, Maya. I feel winter's chill from the bare leaf trees today. Ugh. What is it about winter that turns people into poets? I don't know, but my toes are starting to feel numb. Yep, my poetry has that effect on some people. December 25, Gourd Lake, Public Beach. Wowsers, this is Gourd Lake? Yep. I'm not sure it warrants a Wowsers, though. Probably not. But hey, look at that snack stand. Go, gadget hot dog eating. Samurai dogs? I want a samurai dog, please. I bet they're great. With a name like Samurai Dog, how could they not be? They're a little behind the times, though. The kids are all into the Pink Princess now. I mean, like, you know? No. A hot dog stand. It's closed. The Christmas fringe looks a little half-baked. The banner reads Samurai Dogs. Somebody needs to redecorate. Huh. Someone left some poppers here. You know, pull the string and it goes pop. Yeah, I know the ones. See them a lot around New Year's. Hey, Nick. They might be a clue. Let's take them. Come on, admit it. You just want to pop them, right? Was it that obvious? Poppers. I guess it couldn't hurt. Huh? Where'd they go? Into my pocket. Poppers put in pocket. The trash can's empty. At least the place is well maintained. Wow, Gourd Lake is really big. Yeah. Say, Nick, why is it called Gourd Lake? Oh, well, a long time ago, they used to grow gourds here. Whoa, no way! I was sure it was because the lake looked like a gourd when viewed from above. You know, like an hourglass shape? Oh, it is shaped like a gourd, actually, but that's just a coincidence. Oh, okay. Some of the conversations are just so good. A lineup of plastic benches. I guess the idea is you buy a dog and eat it here. I doubt anyone would sit here and eat on a day like this, though. Except maybe Maya if she had a samurai dog. Huh. I almost didn't see the signpost. Left to the boat docks, right to the exit. Maya's very excitable. Gore Lake Woods, December 25. I like it here, Nick. Look, someone's camping. They got guts camping at the scene of a murder. Hey, Nick! They were camping here last night. They might know something about the murder. Oh, that's true. Good call, Maya. Let's go talk to them. Next to this no camping sign. Fuck the police. The sign says no camping. Funny place to pick to pitch your tent. Wait, what if the sign said no setting tents on fire? I don't think they have signs like that. Now I want a sign like that. Oh. This SUV's seen better days. It's dented all over. Can't believe anyone would drive their car down here. Hey, Nick. What, don't tell me you're hungry again. No. I was just wondering, why are camping pots and pans made of aluminum? They didn't talk about that in any of my law books. So there's no law saying they have to be made out of aluminum then. I am not having this conversation. There's food and some magazines on the sheet. It takes a pretty tough skin to camp in this cold. The trees grow quite thick here. Further back, the trees fade into the shadow where the sunlight can't reach them. So that's what they mean by where the sun don't shine. This camera has a mic and some sort of attachment. It must take pictures when triggered by a noise. Whoa, cool, let's try it out. Hi, I'm Nick. Maybe I'm not saying it loud enough. Hey, I'm Nick. Huh. Nick, will you stop that? Maybe it's broken. Don't kick it. Maybe it isn't set to respond to voices. Well, what then? These things? Oh, sorry if I snorted into the mic there. I thought I'd muted it. The party poppers? Well, it responded. Ah! Hey, you, get your hands off of that! What in the Sam Hill? Look what you done now. There goes a whole roll of film. Sorry's nice, but it don't pay my bills. Y'all know how much a roll of that film costs? I'll pay you back. What were y'all thinking, setting off a party popper in a place like this? Well... What? Don't try to play stupid with me just because you think I'm some country bumpkin. Yeah, I know how y'all Yanks think. I say, those southern folks talk with that exaggerated drawl. They must be quite dumb. Tut, well let me tell you, just 'cause I might be dumb don't mean we all are. Nick, help. And who are you now, her chaperone? Yeah, no, rather, we're sort of friends. Just figure out what y'all are gonna say and say it for bejesus's sake. God, I'd rather sit through one of Papa's draws than listen to you stutter all day. Oh boy. I guess we should pay her for the film. Watch it. Yes, ma'am. On second thought, I'll pay later. I'm really sorry. Oh, she's so good. What? Can't you see I'm changing the film on my camera here? Someone, and I ain't naming no names, but someone used up the whole dang roll. Sorry. Well, that didn't work. Wonder if I have anything to show her that'd get her attention. This is my badge. Huh? Ain't badges supposed to be all shiny and impressive? You a cop or something? I'm a lawyer. What? Y'all ain't gonna try and pull one of them lawsuits on me over that film now, 'cause I'll have y'all know I'm a fighter and I wrestled meaner looking things than you. No, that's not it at all. We're investigating a murder that took place here on the lake. A murder? Sounds cool! Why didn't y'all say that in the first place? Go ahead, ask me whatever you like. Finally, some cooperation! You two, y'all can come out of hiding now. I won't bite too hard. Come to think of it, where did Maya get to? Sorry. I was feeling a little overwhelmed. The culture gap and all. Never you mind, honey. I can talk Yank for you if it pleases you. Thanks. I think I'll be okay. Great then. I'm Lotta. Lotta Hart, but y'all can call me Lotta. I'm here photographing meteor showers for a research project. Mighty pleased to meet ya. Oh yeah, when was that murder anyway? I ain't seen much television lately. It happened late in the night on Christmas Eve. That's so, Christmas Eve. Man on a boat was shot. Did you see anything? Well, let me see. A boat, you say? I reckon I might have seen one, not sure though. Y'all gotta remember, I've been watching this here lake for a good 3 days now. I seen enough boats to choke a mule, kinda hard to remember which I seen when. That's quite a camera you have there. Y'all better know it, it's German-made, genuine Solingen. Isn't that where they make knives? So what's that device you have stuck on the camera? Huh? Device? Your camera went off all by itself when I fired my party popper. Oh, that mic triggers the shutter when it detects certain sounds. It's programmed to pick up loud noises right now. A programmable camera? A programmable camable, nice! Set to automatically take a picture when a loud noise is detected. Faces the lake. So what is it you do, Lotta? Huh, me? Ha! Y'all don't really want to know that, do ya? Actually, I'm a research student at Country U, right in the heart of the heartland. That literally means OU, the big school just south of us here. Wow, neat! Nick, she's a research student at a university. Country U! So I hear. So when did you come up here? I can't believe there's an OU reference in this. Also, the colors of her hair and headband together are the school colors. Nah, the heart of the heartland is Oklahoma. Pretty sure. Good old Country University, or UC. Exactly. Let me see. I guess it was about 3 days ago. What are you photographing? Didn't I tell you all that already? Meteors. Yep, meteor showers. Falling stars. Lotta? Yeah? So your camera, it triggers on loud explosion noises. Yep. Actually, the victim in this case we're researching, he was shot with a pistol. A pistol? Right. Now, wouldn't a gunshot make a similar noise to our party popper? I guess it would. Your camera didn't get a picture of the murder, did it? Hey! Y'all pretty bright. Huh? I see what you're saying. Tell you what, I'll have a look-see at my film. It would have been a photo taken late last night. I checked him once, don't remember if there was nothing on him though. What if I got something? I could be a witness to a genuine murder. Yeehaw! I'll go check that film. Y'all come back now, you hear? She went inside her SUV. I guess we should come back later. Can confirm, Oklahomans really do talk like this. No, for real. And at least some of you are sitting there wondering, is she serious? Do Oklahomans really talk like this? December 25, boat rental shop. Nick, what is this place? A boat rental shop. Closed for Christmas, it seems. I guess a murder taking place on one of the boats won't be good for business either. Boats. I've never ridden on a boat. Really? How about we go out on one when the trial's finished? Hey, good idea. You bet. All right. I wonder what she was like in the Japanese version. I don't know. That's an interesting thought. Like, how do these caricatures translate from English to Japanese? A small boat rental shop. Doesn't look like anyone's around. They're probably closed because it's Christmas. There's more forest off that way. I doubt I'd find any helpful clues in there. A heavy Osaka accent. Oh, that's possible. Just like in that one anime about schools. A joke about anime I've absorbed through osmosis. I can't remember the name of the damn anime that's from. But there's this girl who's perfectly normal until they tell her that because she's from Osaka, she should talk very slowly. Azumanga Daioh, thank you. There's some boats floating at the dock. Was one of these boats used in the murder, I wonder? Nick? Huh? I changed my mind. I don't really want to go for a boat ride. I know they tend to use speech tics to bring across, like vocal tics. To bring across, characters in Japan because it's much more difficult with a Japanese alphabet to write accents. No, she's only normal for like a few minutes is the thing. Like, that's kind of the joke, is everyone goes to fit into each other's stereotypes because it's a high school. December 25, Police Department, Criminal Affairs. I guess Detective Gumshoe is still in that meeting. Hey! Thanks for coming down, pal! Detective Gumshoe! We just finished the meeting. For some reason, I keep referring to the two of you as though you're a single entity. I guess I never see you apart, though, so maybe that's where my brain's hitting a wall. For better or for worse. I get the feeling we're in for some bad news. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. All right, hands against the wall, all of you. Don't even think about escaping. I got eyes on the back of me head. He must be doing image training for arrests. This must be the chief of the detectives here. He's glued to his computer screen. What? Gord Lake? Already sighted? I don't believe it! Shouldn't you be reading something more important? A propaganda poster of a female police officer. Wait, no, that's the latest Babes in Uniform calendar, my bad. Do you know anything about the victims yet? No, still can't ID him. Has Mr. Edgeworth said anything? Not a word. So how'd the meeting go? I can't tell you, pal, you're a lawyer. That's true. You know, I don't know what to believe anymore. Sure, Mr. Edgeworth's human like you and me, still. I get the feeling that if he'd done something wrong, he wouldn't go hiding it. That's just the kind of guy he is. Why can't anyone else see that? So they think that Mr. Edgeworth did it? Well, the trial's starting tomorrow, as scheduled. I see. Hey, in the end, you did tell us about the meeting. Hey, don't go telling anyone else, pal. Yes, sir. And, do me a favor. Stand by Mr. Edgeworth. He needs help, and you're the ones to help him. I'm sure he's got some reason why he won't talk to us. Thanks, Detective Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe, how come you trust Mr. Edgeworth so much? Well, I'd like to think that was obvious. We got a strong working relationship, us two. We trust each other, and that's how it works. A working relationship? See, Mr. Edgeworth always gets his defendants declared guilty every time. Yeah, his methods might be a little extreme, but there's a reason. He trusts our investigation, see? He trusts us to get the right man. That's why I work extra hard, pal. We gotta earn that trust he places in us. I see. Mr. Edgeworth is a man you can trust. And you have my word on that. Mr. Edgeworth knows not to talk to cops, oh no. I was wondering, did you ever get that autopsy report? Oh, yeah, I made a copy for you. Sometime on the 24th or 25th, cause 1 bullet shot to the heart. Thank you. Nick? Huh? Can you show me the photo of the victim? That face. Someone you know? I don't know. I just have this feeling that I met him somewhere a long time ago. Hey, is that the police department's mascot? That's the Blue Badger. It was my idea. I made it. It's my mascot. I see. How nice. I'll get him assigned mascot of the Criminal Affairs Department if it's the last thing I do. Good luck. Edgeworth, this is really hard for me to ask, but you didn't do it, right? Think what you will. I have only one request. Stay out of this case. Why? Nick is trying to help you. I know that. But I don't want your help, okay? Why not? Look, just go away and leave me alone. Nick, Mr. Edgeworth did it, didn't he? Maya, let's go investigate elsewhere. But Nick... Sword Lake Woods. Hey, y'all! Lotta! Wait up a sec. We got bingo. Bingo? My automatic camera took 2 pictures last night. Hey! This is them. Take a look. Wait. See? He's shooting him with that there pistol. It looks like that, yeah. But you can't really tell who that is shooting. Yeah, well, there was enough fog out there last night to strangle a bullfrog. At least a fog bullfrog. But you know, seeing these photos reminded me of something. What? I saw the murder happen. I'm a witness. What? Are you serious? Of course. How do you forget? Never mind. Y'all reckon I should tell the cops? So, she's from Oklahoma, so it's probably the meth? I reckon so. What's that? Now don't y'all go trying to mock my accent. I'm a sensitive lady. So I'm off to talk to the cops. Y'all can have this photo. Later. Wait, Lotta! What? Can't y'all see I'm kind of busy? Tell us what you saw too, please. Nice try, honey, but I wasn't born yesterday. I'm a witness, and that means I'm on the side of justice, and that means the cops. Yep, she's a white woman from Oklahoma. I'd sooner eat the south side of a northbound skunk than tell you. Lotta! Don't let it get your skivvies in a bunch. Friends today, enemies tomorrow. Or is that the other way around? No matter, I'm gone. Hey, maybe they'll let me do some testifying. Hot dang. She left. Well, that's one more witness. What do we do now, Nick? Well, if she saw something, there's not much we can do about it. The question is, what exactly did she see? Guess we'll find out in the trial tomorrow. An expensive-looking camera faces the lake. Next to it, a large microphone and a blue plastic sheet. Huh. Looks like a computer's attached to the camera. December 25, Gourd Lake Public Beach. Looks like the police have given up their interviewing. Hey! Nah! Nick, I think Santa's mad at you. Long time no see, Nick! Nick, you know Santa Claus? Wow, Nick and Saint Nick. Oh, I see the connection. Don't be ridiculous! Dude, it's me! Larry! What are you doing here? Isn't it obvious? I'm working my day job! I sell samurai dogs, want one? Gotta get money for dates, you know. My girl Kianse deserves the best. Kianse? Not another model, I hope. Oh, Kianse's a fine, fine woman, Nick. It was her idea that I wear the costume. She was all, you go, girlfriend, you know? She bought this costume for me. That's great, Larry. Wow, a Santa costume. She must be really nice. Whoa, cute. Nick, who's she? She's not your... Not my what? No, she's not. I'm his partner, Maya Fey. I'm, the little sister. Sister? Wow, Nick must be tough. Working 9 to 5, having to take care of a little sister. Well, no, I'm not Nick's little sister. I'm my older sister's little sister. Huh. Sounds great. Don't worry, Maya, he is not listening. Hey, Larry, there was a murder here last night, and since you work here, have you heard anything? Nick, you're wasting your time. Last night was Christmas Eve. He was with Kianse, obviously. He wouldn't have been standing out here in the cold. Oof! I think what you just said caught him off guard, Maya. No, it's just... Kianse's not in town right now. She's in Hawaii on a photo shoot. A model, I knew it. Well, anyway, there was a murder here on the lake. The trial's tomorrow. Ah, neat! The defendant is Edgeworth, Miles Edgeworth. Nick? Why would Larry know Edgeworth? Whoa, Nick! Whoa, Nick! You don't mean that Miles Edgeworth. Oh, Edgy! Yeah, he's a murder suspect. Whoa, murder! Huh? You know Mr. Edgeworth, Larry? Yeah, of course! Edgy was in the same class as us in grade school. What? So Mr. Edgeworth was your classmate, Larry? Yeah, Nick, him and I used to hang out all the time. Wow, I never knew. Don't get me wrong, he's always been kind of a stick in the mud. Studying all the time, trying to be like father. Like his father? Yeah, Edgy's pop was a famous defense lawyer back in the day. Wow. Wait, you said defense lawyer? Yeah. Wait a second, but Mr. Edgeworth is a prosecuting attorney. What? Edgy's got a proboscis on his knee? No, he's a prosecuting attorney. It's like the total opposite of a defense lawyer and a proboscis. Huh, go figure. Always used to talk about defending the weak who were unable to defend themselves. Man, he used to go on and on about man's duty to society and all that. What a bore. Wonder what changed his mind. Do you know Nick? Nick? Tell me about the dogs. Huh? Oh, you mean the samurai dogs? Why are they samurai dogs? I mean, they kind of look gourd-shaped. Oh, well, originally they were gourd dogs, you know, like god dogs. Ouch. The samurai thing was Kianse's idea. Oh, she's my woman, you know. She was all, change the name and you go, girlfriend. She made me that banner. And the kids can't get enough of those samurai dogs. Love that honey crunch. Something about that just seems wrong. Oh, and guess what? We're getting a ton of customers here at the lake. What with the big news? The big news? Yeah, Gordy! Gordy? What's a Gordy? Huh? You mean you don't know? It's here in this very lake. A giant, mysterious monster, Gordy! A monster? Yeah! Check it out! This is an article from yesterday's newspaper. There's a photo and everything. Wow, it's really real. Hot news. Go brung dining in Walker Seed Battle Gourd Lake. The Sig Fergwer Barabon like Nick, a monster, a real monster. I can read the word photographer at the bottom. Yeah, it's probably a log or something, right? Hey, there's a quote here from the person who took the photo. Oh, what's this? I set the camera to automatic, and when we got into frame, I heard a loud bang, like an explosion, followed by the sound of something slipping into the water. I wish I could have seen it. Why would there be a sound like an explosion? Larry, can I borrow this article from you? Sure, no problem. That'll be $1 million. 1 million? Grow up, Larry. No. Let's see, we're almost at the court scene, so we'll go up to there. Anything at the rental shop? Of course not. I like if there's something new, it stops you. December 25, Police Department, Criminal Affairs. Not a gumshoe in sight. If you're looking for Detective Gumshoe, he is in the questioning room. Apparently, an important witness showed up. He'll be in there a while. Lot of heart. It has to be. Uh-oh. So who's this cop then? Well, I am the exact same. That must be one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. Move in the crowd, wear drab clothes. Never enter the target's field of vision. He must be doing image training for trailing. These are the detectives' desks. There are computers and files on each one. Funny, they're a lot tidier than I'd expect. I guess the detectives don't spend a lot of time at their desks. What is it? Oh, nothing. Just something's been bothering me. Can you show me that autopsy report once more? Hey, I remember now. This guy, this guy, he's a lawyer that was at that office Mia worked at. I met him once when I went there to hang out with Sis. That office? Wait, you mean Grossberg's office? Right, that guy. That was the last name I expected to come up. Maybe I should go talk to him for old time's sake. Ah, that old familiar clearing of the throat. Aha, you're me as something, are you not? I was her understudy, yes, Phoenix Wright. Aha! And you're me as something too, are you not? Her little sister, yes. You've grown! You've come to look a lot like your sister, you know. It takes me back. Ah, the days of my youth. Like the scent of fresh lemon, you see. Mr. Grossberg, sir. Oh, yes. I beg your pardon. Of course you came here to discuss something. What is it then? Something the matter? Mr. Grossberg, whatever happened to that painting? No, yes. I do not think it shall ever be coming back home to this office. I can't exactly claim it as stolen. I suppose it's my just desserts. Old, bitter desserts. Sitting in the fridge for days at a time. Not quite stale, but not good enough to tempt my delectable palate. There was a murder last night. A murder? You haven't heard. I just got up, you see. Well, Miles Edgeworth shot someone with a pistol. Edgeworth? What? Who did he shoot? Well, the identity of the victim is still unknown. This is terrible news indeed. I guess he hadn't heard anything. Yeah, you know, fresh lemon, like the days of your youth. So, this camera on the lake takes a photo whenever it hears an explosion sound. That's what she said. Oh, burn. And it just happened to be set up on the beach pointing out to the lake. Yeah, she said it was to photograph shooting stars. Shooting stars, explosions. What's the connection? I'd be suspicious of this witness of yours. Strange. I feel as though I've seen this man somewhere before. Oh! Did you remember? He was a lawyer here in my office. That's Hammond. Robert Hammond. What's the joke for Robert Hammond? I'm having a hard time with this one. The closest I can think of is right hand, which is a big stretch. Maybe he's the Hamburglar, because he robs ham. You think he's the Hamburglar? If he wears a striped suit, he's the Hamburglar. Mr. Hammond. And you say this is the man Miles Edgeworth shot? Who is this Hammond guy, anyway? Mr. Hammond. He was the defense attorney in that case. That case? Yes, the DL6 incident. DL6? Why does that sound so familiar? Perhaps you remember. Sure, someone mentioned it during the trial for Mia's murder. That was the incident where the police were so at a loss they used a spirit medium. That would mean Edgeworth allegedly shot the Hamburglar, that's right. Wait, you don't mean... Was that medium my mother? Yes, my dear. The spirit medium Misty Fey, your mother, contacted the spirit of the victim. But the case was a loss. No conviction was made. The DL6 incident, yes, you wouldn't download a 6. Happened 15 years ago. A very strange case indeed. They never caught the criminal, right? Yes, Mystify, very good. Correct. Misty Fey used her powers to talk to the spirit of the late victim. Her testimony led to charges being laid against one man, but Mr. Hammond won the case, and the suspect was declared innocent. And the police blamed my mother, calling her a fraud. You were the one who helped her out then, right, Mr. Grossberg? Yes. Yes, quite. Thank you. No, please. Don't mention it. DL6. Never thought I'd hear that name again, mostly because I completely forgot about that name. But wait, what does that case have anything to do with Mr. Edgeworth? It has everything to do with Mr. Edgeworth, my dear. The victim in the DL6 incident was none other than his father, Gregory Edgeworth. Or Gredgeworth. What? His father? If you want to know more, you should ask him yourself. Show him this. I'm sure he'll talk to you. Wait. This is a photograph of my mother. Didn't we used to have this photograph in our wallets? What's this? Oh, whoa. I was hoping you'd gotten my message the first time. Edgeworth? What about your defense? I don't know if y'all could hear Christy groan when I did that. It's no concern of yours. Guess he hasn't found anyone yet. Edgeworth? It's only been a matter of hours since you last visited. Yet you've made incredible progress in your investigation. I'll admit it, I'm impressed, Wright. You were always single-minded in your work, though. Once you start on something, you always see it through, don't you? About the DL6 incident. Right, DL6. I didn't want you to find out about it. That's why I refused your offer to defend me. I'm sorry if it sounded like I thought you weren't up to the job. I just wanted to keep you away from DL6! So do you still think it would have been better for me to stay away? I don't know. But I see no point in hiding anything from you now. Very well. Ask whatever you like and I will answer to the best of my abilities. The DL6 incident was when my father died. Right before my eyes. He was shot and killed, and I saw it all. My memories from that time are foggy. I suppose it's a self-defense mechanism. In any case, a suspect was arrested, a man. It's pretty clear he was the only one who could have killed my father. The spirit medium they used to talk to my late father said the same thing. It was an attorney by the name of Robert Hammond that cleared the suspect's name. And Hammond is the victim in the Gourd Lake murder. Correct. That spirit medium, that was my mom. What? You mean you're... Strange. I thought that terrible incident was about to end, and now this. About to end? The DL6 incident happened 15 years ago. 15 years ago on December 28. December 28? The statute of limitations on the case runs out in 3 days. I thought there was no statute of limitations on murder anywhere. What? Nick, what does that mean? When a case's statute of limitations runs out legally, the case never happened. Not exactly correct. 3 days from now, DL6 will be closed forever. Well, good thing we have 3 days for this trial. How convenient. What happened to the suspect? The one who got off innocent? I don't know. He disappeared from public view. Nobody knows where to. If he's still alive, he'd be about 50 years old now. I guess I can understand why he'd go into hiding. It'd be hard to live a normal life after being a murder suspect in such a big case. So was your father a lawyer? He was. Gregory Edgeworth. We called him Gredgeworth. He was quite famous at the time, apparently. So you were sort of trying to follow in his footsteps. I'd rather not talk about it. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything I want to say about that. Ah, who would have thought there'd be a photo? Edgeworth, did you shoot him? What do you think, Wright? I don't think you're the kind to point a gun at anyone, no. So you didn't shoot him? No, I didn't. It wasn't me. Right. It pains me to ask you this now. I know, you want us to defend you. Yes, will you? Now for one of those famous Phoenix Wright jokes. Sorry, Edgy, no way! Right. Nick? Hey, don't look so serious, guys. I was kidding. Just a little joke. I don't understand the situation at all. There was nothing little or joke-like about it. I thought it was funny. Nick, do it over. Yes, Your Honor. How could I refuse you, Edgeworth? Thank you, Wright. This is my chance to finally pay you back. Pay him back? Pay me back? For what? I don't remember ever doing anything for you. Never mind. I guess you don't really need to know. Huh. My letter of request. Please give it to Detective Gumshoe. Well, I guess we should. What's that? Earthquake, Nick. It's a big one. Whoa, it's calming down. Ooh, that was scary. Huh? Where's Edgeworth? The earthquake got him. There. He's on the floor in a ball shivering. I guess he doesn't do so well with earthquakes. I have heard of running, but curling up in a ball? Well, guess we're done. Mr. Edgeworth doesn't seem like he's gonna stand up anytime soon. Let's go, Nick. Right. We have to give Edgeworth's letter of request to Detective Gumshoe. What's going on here? Eek. What's wrong, Detective? This wild lady comes in here just a while ago, says she came to talk to y'all after hearing what Mr. Wright had to say. What's this all about, pal? A lot of heart. Why are you going around finding more witnesses? You want to give Mr. Edgeworth the death sentence, pal? No, not at all. I mean, she did see something. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't go around covering up evidence. You trying to say something about the way I do my job? No, sir. Look what I got. Hey, you did it, pal! Thought I waited till the last minute to file those papers. I'll rip them up and start new ones for you. Thanks, Detective. Well, see you in court tomorrow, then. Good luck, pal. Hey, you guys feel that earthquake a little bit back? I was worried. Worried? We're fine. I've lived here my whole life. I'm pretty used to him by now. Oh, I wasn't worried about you two. I was worried about Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, right. He did seem to overreact a little now that you mention it. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. It was a pretty big quake. I'm gonna go check on him. You two go eat and get your rest for tomorrow's trial. Later! I wonder what it is with Mr. Edgeworth and earthquakes. I wonder. I was never scared of him when he was in school. And again, I only really got to know him in 4th grade. He transferred to another school after that. I wonder what happened to Edgeworth. Whatever happened to Miles Edgeworth? Next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Alright. So next week we'll pick up at the court scene. As for this week, tomorrow is Sue with Hellpoint. Thursday is Alice with Final Fantasy VIII. Friday is Katie with Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Sunday is Community Day, and Monday is Christy with Doom 2016, featuring Alice.
Alice still wants to do that.
All right, so we've got a schedule listed there if you want to see everyone on the team, not just the 5 of us. And we've got a YouTube with literally thousands and thousands of hours of content for you to binge watch. Better start now. Better start binge watching now. Right this second. It's good for your glands. Mox has hit bang donate in the chat, so I want to point out those lists once again. Those links are very important. Organizations helping the protesters on the ground right now, because Black Lives Matter and Indigenous Lives Matter. And we need to make sure that that is heard loud and clear. We have a stream team who are listed below here on the page. There's 5 more great streamers. All great at streaming. All right. Peace, y'all.